Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. Welcome to Tech Life Weekly. I'm here with my friend, co-worker, and partner, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. And you know, on Friday, guys, we talk tech in English. So we will be talking to you today about some of the things that have impressed us during 2020 and some of the things that are coming up for 2021. But before we do that, we just want to give a shout out to those of you watching on the replay. We say, hey, welcome to the conversation, and let's get this party started. How you doing, Fran?
I'm well. TJ will not be with us today, so we're flying the social media ship. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think Dr. Tachi may be here. But did you send out a link for her?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so that's all good.
Morning, Jerry.
So, hey, good morning and Happy New Year, people. Happy New Year. So I'm going to do this week in tech history like we normally would do. If you give me a moment to open that up. And what we're going to, I'm going to do just this week in tech history. I got a couple of things. My mind is going somewhere where tech is concerned.
Yeah, and I got a couple of things.
This day. Okay, it is coming up. Woo! Okay, so I'm going to do 3 stories today. First, on January 1st, 1984, the original American Telephone and Telegraph Company is divested of its 22 Bell systems. As a result of the settlement of the 1974 United States Department of Justice antitrust suit against AT&T. So they've been doing this thing for a minute, right?
So they broke them up. Okay.
Yes, but that was because there was no other telephone.
No competition.
There was none. It wasn't like there's Facebook and Google and all of these other things. It was like on the phone system, there was none. And you remember our long distance bills
and the charges.
Now, if they probably wouldn't have tried to gouge and do different things, we probably wouldn't have been talking about how they were divested in 1984. It took them 10 years to
make that happen.
Yeah, 10 years. So anyway, that was the breakup of Ma Bell. But as you can see, AT&T is back. Well, they came back because it was Pacific Pac Bell and some other bells all over the place, but then they all merged back together and became AT&T again. But now there is competition. There's T-Mobile, there's Verizon, there are several other companies now, so they are not just like the only one.
Oh, is Consumer Cellular one of those companies? Is that a private company?
It's a company, but okay.
I'm not saying it's one that we would necessarily sign up for. I'm just saying, is that considered one of the competitors?
Yeah, it would be.
Cricket and a couple of the others?
Okay. Yeah, because there is no telephone, landline wise. Who handles all the landline services now? Isn't that still AT&T?
I don't know. It's been so long since I had a landline. Thank God.
I was like, who does that? Anyway, next story, January 1st, 1985, the internet's domain name system is created. If only I had, this is the editor of this post, if only I had the foresight back then to start registering .com names. So the domain name system created, .com is born. NordU.net was the first domain created on this day for purposes of hosting the first domain root server nick.nordu.net. However, the first domain to actually be registered was symbolics.com a couple of months later on March 15th, 1985. So the internet has not been around
It
that long.
really is not that old.
85? 1985.
It's
Really?
under 30 years old, right?
Under 30. The internet, this thing that we are talking to you on, and
is in its infancy.
And we are doing e-commerce and things 30 years, less than 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This is a shift from industry, because this is kind of like the shift from the horse and buggy to the vehicle.
Correct.
And we're just 30 years into this shift. And people are finally getting comfortable with, okay, I because you hear it all the time. I don't want to do that internet thing, or
yes, yeah, you do. You all the time. I don't want to be on that platform and this platform, and I don't know anything about how to do that. And I understand. I understand the challenge.
I do too, because it is not.
Well, people want someone to show them how to use it.
Right. If you don't understand.
It's like buying a car that drives autonomously and no one shows you how to use it. You're scared to turn on the autopilot.
And so the thing I would tell you is, one of the things that Terry and I would tell you is to learn your technology. Take today. We got a 4-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Well, 3-day weekend. Take some time to pull out your phone and figure out what the phone does. Because, there's iOS 14 came out, which is a plus. The Android system has got some new things. Sit down and figure out, okay, what does this button do? You're not going to break it. A lot of people just turn on their phone and turn on the phone and just use it for phone calls. Your phone today does so much more than it did in the past. It can actually take you out to the internet that started less than 30 years ago from your phone. Okay, my last story, January 1st, 2000. That was 21 years ago, right?
Yes.
After years of hysteria regarding the Y2K bug and the world's computers began using the date 2000 with no major catastrophes. It is still debatable whether the year 2000 problem was overblown by the technology industry, or if the frantic updating done by armies of software developers leading up to the Y2K averted disaster. The person writing this article says he tends to lean toward the latter. Because back then, 21 years ago, nobody knew what they were doing with the internet either.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't know what would happen if they pushed this button, or if they did something, it would trigger something else. So that's your week in tech history. 3 little pieces of history.
Yes, the whole thing. And sometimes, before we move on, I just want to say this. A lot of times, folks, we think we have missed the boat because something has been in existence for a while. But you have not missed the boat. Like that, we were talking about the whole thing about the domain name registries and things like that. There is plenty of room for everybody in this particular industry. And so I want to encourage you to use the tools, learn the tools, because new tools are coming out all the time, but they're usually built on the premises of what's already in play. It's sort of like a new model of a car, if you look at it that way. Okay, you basically know how to get in, turn the car on. That's what you need to know. Now, when you use this particular application or app, as we call them, or a platform like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, these are platforms that you learn different things. So I'm just saying, stick with it. I know sometimes it seems scary, but it's just developing. We're learning how to ride the bicycle. Now we're learning how to start the car, the motorcycle, et cetera, et cetera. So stick with the evolution of things. You're still on the ground floor, I guess is my note of encouragement for 2021. You're still on the ground floor. There's nowhere but up from here.
And we're here to help you with that too. You talking about I like the analogy of it's like the new car. Every year they add a couple of features.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't know that we needed seat belts back in 1960 something.
You know what I mean?
And then so they started putting things in as they learned more.
Cup holders, car chargers, just little augments.
As improvements, and this is what your phone does too. Exactly. When they tell you to update to the newest firmware. I had a good conversation with the Apple dude yesterday about some stuff. I got him on the phone because I needed to talk to him about my computer, and he was telling me how the engineers have, they understand if somebody keeps reporting a problem, they understand, and they put out a patch to fix it. So when they tell you to update, please update, because they're trying to fix, they might have found a vulnerability in the security. They may have found a bug that's causing something not to work right, and you are frustrated because something is not working, but you update your phone because they fixed whatever that issue was.
As they discover things.
Right. And it's like, that button is off. We need to put a button right here. So it's just a continuing improvements every day, which we should be making improvements every day.
Oh, we need to
get
our shift together. Okay. Yes.
So we're going to make improvements. Change is not permanent. Change is always going to change. You're always going to be changing. Okay, your body loses skin cells, new skin cells comes up, the old ones are sloughed away. That's change. You would not want your body to stay the same throughout. You don't want to just not change.
Exactly. You want to constantly have improvement going on.
Right.
Replenishment going on.
And so improvements happen day by day by day by day by day. Not and we tend to get our minds just fixed. Oh, I learned that, and it's gonna be the same way. No, one thing that Facebook taught us is there is change.
Hi, Chauncey.
There is change. So you need to be prepared for change. Stuff is not going to be the same way every day.
And who wants a stagnant life anyway? But let's get this party started because it's 20 after. I want to talk about 3 things, and my things are going to be pretty quick because it's New Year's Day. We don't want to be here. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is the fact that Amazon is buying Wondery. Wondery is a podcast business. So they are expanding their blueprint in the world of podcasting, which I thought was very interesting. And so now it says this is a pivotal moment to expand Amazon's music offering beyond music as listeners' habits evolve, Amazon said in a blog post on Wednesday. So they are getting into the podcast business. And I just thought that was...
But in a roundabout way, they've always been in the podcast business.
Right.
Because Audible...
Yes, exactly.
Audible has added podcasts to their repertoire. And if you don't know what Audible is a place where you can listen to books instead of reading the book. And now they've added podcasts to that because let's face it, you can do a lot of things while you are listening to something. You can be cleaning up the house.
Because it's radio.
You're listening.
Yes. Yes. So
So
I thought that that was something that deserved, a note.
right, that was
And
good.
mhm.
You're good.
and I let me see if I can share this screen. This is something that I thought might bring a smile to our face because I just needed a smile. And so let's see. And let me get this because last year we talked about these robots and we showed the little dog robot. Remember that?
I
The
remember the
little
little dog.
dog. Yeah. So let me play this.
With enough rhythm, to make someone tweet.
Did it stop? Did the video stop?
Yeah.
Hold on. Oh, it's buffering. I don't know why. Hmm.
If you
Okay.
send me the link, I might be able to play it.
Okay. So let me send this to you.
Great. Now even robots have better moves than me. Better moves than me.
Yeah. Let me see if I can send you this link. Or I don't know if it's because it keeps buffering, friend.
Yeah.
That Spot, Boston Dynamics RoboDog, you could buy for $74,500.
Woo!
Footwork. Noted one Twitter user, that dog robot has come a long way. The dance video released by Boston Dynamics to celebrate a happier new year inspired humans to imitate the robots. It's cool and creepy at the same time. We're doomed. Even Elon Musk was impressed. This is not CGI. Instead of its usual work lifting boxes, Handler the robot worked the dance floor. After years of being shoved by researchers, being dragged by the tail to test its doggedness, even kicked. The robots got their kicks for a change. Do robots do the human as well as humans do the robot? One Twitter critic praised the dancing robots as better than One Direction. Let's go crazy, crazy. The internet went crazy over the robots. Doing mashups with the Terminator and remixes. Far less horrifying when you're dancing to Chuck Mangione. One fan changed the track to point out that these two are doing some dirty dancing. Okay, so Spot isn't able to wrap himself around Handler's waist. They're still pretty hot for robots. Gina, CNN, New York.
So I thought that was interesting, friend.
Oh, Dr. Tati, hang on. Let me get that over to her.
Oh, she thinks she has the wrong link.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dutch.
That was really interesting because
I just thought, it was a little lighter than what we usually show, and I just needed something uplifting this holiday. So I said, "Oh, and they're actually dancing." I'm like, "Okay, I can get to this," because usually we just see them doing tasks because they're designed to, do factory work or do something that's repetitive, and it's kind of boring. But to see their flexibility that they're building into all of these things now with artificial intelligence is really amazing. And I think we showed the other week where the robots were mirroring mirroring the ladies. Did I show you that one?
I don't know.
And that's how they would teach. Oh, I think I saw it on TV. And that's how they were teaching the robots moves. They would move, and then the analyst would go in and program the moves into the code of the device. So I just thought it was cheerful. And it made me smile. So I hope it made you smile this morning to be able to witness that.
So with the making you smile, yesterday, our church did the New Year's Eve service completely virtual.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking from start to finish, completely virtual. And they did some, I think I might want to bring them up.
Hi, Todd.
Anyway, they pulled some clips of some worship fails. And other stuff. It was, I'm telling you, it was so funny. And I'll put the link in there if anybody wants to go watch the replay. What I liked about being digital and virtual, it was a 2-hour New Year's Eve, not the regular, we're going to go from 7 to whatever.
Okay, and I thought it was going to be on and on.
No, it was from 10 to midnight. And the technology allowed us to have it. We had well over, the amount of people that were on there that, people are commenting and stuff. And I'm telling you, my sides were hurting because of the comedy that was going on. It was so funny. So I will put that link in the chat.
Okay.
But, if you want to laugh,
that's it.
You're going to laugh because it was way funny. And they started, they mixed it through and you can scroll through and stuff, but it was a really good thing. And that was technology.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Without what they started 30 years ago, over a little less than 30 years ago, we wouldn't be able to do what we do now. And Dr. Tachi, I'm not going to talk about your state right now in the lovely people of
it's not my state. It's where I happen to live.
It's where we all reside. Well, here's the thing. I don't want to hold anybody accountable for the activities in our state. We got a pretty big state, Fred, and we got a lot to be accountable for if we start deciding ourselves.
Because, okay, so
honey, remember them parties in Los Angeles?
No, I understand, but it's all you notice it's in the southern hemisphere where it's warmer, near the equator is where all that happens.
Oh, wow.
It's cold, so
they're not frozen out.
Well, I don't think we can blame people of the equator for.
I mean, just started signing off. I got a regional stuff.
I'm trying to understand rhyme or reason why.
Well, you need to stop trying to understand.
I'm sorry. I failed to see where you'll be wasting precious time.
Yeah. Because anyway,
we don't have enough doctors in here to even begin, girl, to figure it out. But I do want to show you this, though, real quick, if I can.
Let me wrap up my New Year's Eve thing.
Oh, yes. Okay.
The fact that you could do New Year's Eve online. I mean, okay, American Bandstand Man did it. Mm-hmm. He brought us New Year's Rockin' Eve a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
And if everybody just followed that recipe right there, wherever they were,
we'd be all good.
Because that was a genius move right there. You can't get out your house, so hey, instead of going down in New York Times Square freezing, we'll go out there and freeze for you. And now you don't.
There were still people there.
Say that again, Dr. Tachi.
There were still people there, regardless.
In small groups.
In small groups.
Yeah, and they were by invitation.
By
Yep.
invitation only in small groups. There were a lot of vloggers there. I noticed there are a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTubers that do tours of New York City. So of
Uh-huh.
course, all the usual suspects were there. I mean, you can, if you're covering it like that, you can probably get a press pass. So you probably.
That's what I'm thinking. They probably have
Yes.
a press pass.
I would. That's why I keep telling people, you want to be involved and do all these cool things. Start vlogging about it and be serious, and you could get a press pass to these things.
Yep.
Ooh,
It's,
that sounds
I mean, you and all you have to do is have your phone and your press pass and hi, I'm from da 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 da. So what's your take on this? And you are doing a story, and people will listen to you. Somebody
Absolutely.
is going to listen to you.
Well, look, hey, the ones that I watch this one. He's really good. There are a few New York City vloggers I watch, but there's one. His name is Action Kid. He has hundreds of thousands of people following him. And when he's doing these tours of New York, particularly he's been busy around the holiday time showing lights, he will be walking. People are like, hey, Action Kid. They know who he is. So there's recognition and name recognition for these vloggers. And anybody who thought there wasn't, there really is.
And that's why I was saying we really are on the ground floor of a lot of things, guys.
And the reason you're going to be known is because you're consistent at it. If he just came out acting Kid one time and then put the camera away and didn't do anything, we would not be talking about him right now.
Exactly.
He shows up time after time after time.
Absolutely.
Okay, Terry, you had another story.
I was going to see if I could share this screen to show just a real quick, if I can find the Chrome tab here, just a real quick, I don't know if you guys can see this drone show here.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Okay, now I was trying to expand it, but it doesn't look like it has an opportunity to make it full screen. So let's just play it.
There it is over there now.
Oh, now you could do it now.
Yeah.
We've taken everything online at Edinburgh's Hogmanay and created this rather spectacular drone show. It's Scotland's first ever swarm drone show, and it's actually the largest swarm drone show.
Can you see the deer?
In the wider UK.
Yeah.
And what these 150 drones have
And they
done
making
create
him
beautiful
gallop.
images in the sky, everything from a giant eagle to the saltire to the stag.
I like the
to
movement
big
in here.
words that we some of them 200 meters wide. They're beautiful, really. They're kind of reflective. They're hopeful, as I say. They are Scottish in tone, in language, in music, and we're really, really proud of them. It's great to be able to do something that is brilliantly kind of Hogmanay, brilliantly Scottish, that people can see all over the world.
I wonder if Ramsey had anything to do with that.
I would be surprised.
I would not be surprised because Scotland is not a big country geographically.
Yeah, but okay, so they actually put the drones together. That was not easy work trying to make that.
No, that's mathematical prowess.
And then maybe
make that
eagle
work.
fly and the deer run, the animation. I was like, okay, that made me smile.
No, that was nice. We need some nice stuff. So
And
that was good.
calming. It was calming because there's just some people who just want to stay on the scene.
I have a question. I'm wondering if that's really interesting. If they said this is not the only drone show, and I'm sure it's been done in different places. I'm wondering, the popularity of, for example, the air show. Here we have the Fort Lauderdale Air Show, and those air shows are very popular. I'm wondering if these things will grow in popularity and they will actually be events that people will go to once outside opens back up.
Right.
I think we may see this sooner than we see a lot of venues open up because it is outside. You can watch it from, like a park, or you can go out to the airfield. because we have an air show in September here in Sacramento, and it's in the evening. So yeah, I can see where it would be like a drive-in movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very cool. I mean, it would be cool and calming. I love that idea.
And it doesn't revolve around human
contact
safety. No, because pilots in the air shows are doing tricks.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so the drone goes down. You know, because there have been a couple of not so good outcomes sometimes.
Oh, the pilots, yeah. Wow, it could take out that whole human error issue.
Right. Yeah. And so the drone, you know, it would just be, whoops, the lights went out, or, so, you know, something mechanical went down and loss of life did not occur.
Yes.
Which I think is
absolutely.
It's a lot better than having loss of life. Okay.
So those are the three things I wanted to share with you guys. The dancing robots, the drones, and the fact that Wonderly was acquired by Amazon. So
So I am now going to defer to Dr. Tachi, because I know there's a whole lot of stuff going on in the world.
Oh my gosh. Doctor.
So you actually took one of my stories, the fact that Wondery was acquired by Amazon, because, you know, podcasting is such a huge thing, and I'm like so involved in the podcasting.
Expand on that, because I did not talk about it long. So if you have some points you want to make about it, that's great. You know, because I am not a media mogul.
Well, I'm media. I'm not a mogul yet, but it's coming. But
yes,
I not to belabor the point, but since you already covered it, but I just really think, like, if I had to make a prediction for this year, not only because of the pandemic, but because of the pandemic, there is such an emphasis on content that I was not surprised by this move. Amazon has been steadily moving farther and farther into the podcasting space, of course, with some podcasts being available on Audible, etc., and trying to compete with the big person or the big people on campus in terms of the podcasting world is Apple, of course, and Apple Podcasts. So everybody else is really trying to play catch up to Apple Podcasts. And it's not, this is the interesting thing, it's not that Apple has a particularly nice interface for podcasts. They don't. I don't like the interface for it, but that's what people know, and that's where people go. And so they're the ones to be reckoned with. And so I'm not surprised by this move at all by Amazon. They just announced this deal Wednesday, you know, and so podcasts are at the front of people's minds for all of these media companies. So I don't know if you know or talked about this, but this deal, which actually began 5 years ago in 2016, they started working on this.
About the background.
Yeah, so in 2016 they started working on this, and it's valued at roughly $300 million. That doesn't mean that's exactly what was paid for. We don't know what the percentages are, but it's valued at roughly $300 million. And Amazon called this Wondery deal, quote, a pivotal moment to expand Amazon Music offerings beyond music and as listeners' habits evolve. I have news for you, Amazon. They've already evolved. We are listening to podcasts. And even though there's been a slight dip, and I think we talked about it here in terms of podcast listening, because where do people listen to podcasts? On their way to work in cars and such, on the train, on public transport. But I think they've recovered from that dip as podcasts realize that you can't just be the commuter listen for you need to now offer content that can keep people, because the thing with podcasts is, the way I listen to podcasts is I'll start listening, and then if I have something to do, I'll come back and finish listening later. Some people need quick bites, right? Sorry, Quibi. See, Quibi could have had their day, but they didn't. But some people need those quick bites of content where they need a podcast that's going to end in 5 or 10 minutes. But with the pandemic, that's not necessarily always the case. So I think that podcasts have evolved to that and some are offering slightly longer content. So
Now, see, I like the idea of short content because I subscribe to several different podcasts and I listen to them in the morning when I'm getting ready for my show. And so they run. So I have, what do you call it? I guess y'all call it a playlist. I just have several that I just am loyal to and I run them. And I want them to be short enough for me to pay attention. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. And that's why there's this balancing game going on. So there is the slightly longer content, but for the most part, you still have a good number of podcasts that have the quick snackable bites of information and entertainment that you can get into. And still, because I subscribe to a lot of podcasts too, and there's no way I can sit. That would be all day, every day.
Exactly.
If I were to sit there and listen to everything. So I do agree with you. Another thing that in terms of podcasting and seeing this, they are, to get people to listen, obviously, you have to draw in celebrities and notables with content, and that really gets people to listen. Do I agree with that? Not 100%, because I think there are a lot of people that are not celebrities and non-notables that have awesome content, in some cases better than what you hear the celebrities say. I said it, yes. So they have attracted Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. I don't know if I had talked about it the last time I haven't been here in a while. Mm-hmm. So the last time, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have now started their own production company, and podcasting is part of it. So they draw them.
A production company. I thought they were part of something else. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, they are part of something else, but they, if I'm not mistaken, they've also launched a production company that this is part of. Okay. So, and the thing is, the thing that's also so attractive about podcasts is that it creates fresh content for other platforms like television, like film, etc. So how many podcasts have we seen lately that have been turned into series? Homecoming on Amazon. Also, Dirty John. That's it. Same thing on. So I'm not surprised by this. This makes sense. So that's what I want to say about Amazon.
They're keeping active.
They are keeping active, and it's good to keep active because when you're not active, you get into all sorts of trouble.
Oh, okay. I don't.
Kind of like the idle hands are the devil's playground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so some other things that I wanted to talk about, that according to Gallup, Americans still are mistrustful, or distrustful, I should say, of mass media. Really?
Whoa, you don't say.
I never would have guessed that. But this. Say again, I'm sorry.
I had a thought. They are distrustful of mass media, but they will believe the National Enquirers of the internet.
Well, they said Americans are mistrustful. Nobody said they were bright and brilliant. So
okay. I was like,
I'm just saying.
Oh, well stated. Okay.
Alien stuff and all of the weird.
But what you have to understand too, friend, that's just a sliver of the general audience. Everybody doesn't pick up the Inquirer in the newsstand when it was there. I actually resisted buying the one about the aliens
But to her point, to Fran's point, there are a lot of people who are easily swayed and will believe things. Like, I have to talk people off of ledges all the time. But such and such said that, and I make my face just like this. But did you check with other things? Well, I don't have. and I can't help people who don't want to be helped. So what we have to realize is I would say the vast majority, there are a number of people who will do the research and will make sure things are what they are. But the vast majority either don't have time, don't care, or are too lazy to do it. And so they get easily swayed. So it has to be, go ahead.
And that's entertainment, right?
And that's what shows up in your messenger box of people. I'm like, if y'all don't stop sending me stuff.
And everything is not, see, my thing is everything is not for me to fix. Because that's the only way I can stay sane.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I mean, what happens is there are a segment of us that will be like, oh, what the hell? Come on, whatever. And remember W.E.B. Du Bois's concept of the talented 10th, that 10% of the people will uplift everybody else. Well, that's a heavy damn load to carry. So I cannot sit there. Yeah. It's a heavy load to carry. I need you to do for self. So, 4 in 10 U.S. adults say that they have a, quote, great deal of, which is 9%, or 31% say a fair amount of trust and confidence in the media to report the news, quote, fully, accurately, and fairly. 6 in 10 have not very much trust, that's 27%, or none at all, which is 33%. And this is based off of a study that was done by Gallup, or a poll done by Gallup, that Americans trust in the media. So they first asked this question in 1972, and they've continued to do so every year since 1997. So this is interesting because what was happening around 1972? I wasn't born yet, but wasn't that around the same time Nixon and, if I'm not mistaken,
Watergate,
right?
I had just come out of college, and we had just been through a series of assassinations. We went through King, JFK, Malcolm. There's just and then into the 70s with affirmative action, and it was a lot going on. It was a
right
political time.
Right. So it made sense that they're looking to see how much trust Americans have in the media, because this is where you get your news from. Although now we're living in an age where you can poll people, and many of them will say they get their news from Facebook or from Twitter, etc. Now, that doesn't mean that, Twitter itself. Yes. Right. Exactly. So it just really is with, well, are you following news agencies on Twitter that are reporting things? Are you following people that just have a blog called That's What I Say, and they put stuff out there? So it really depends on.
I don't think
I think it's the latter.
Yeah, I don't think we should get super, super upset about this, because people have always selected the voice they want to listen to. I mean, there was Rush Limbaugh. The difference is just the vehicle it's coming to them through. Is it radio, or is it a podcast? Is it a streaming, video? I don't know.
Stranger's voice I will not follow. Sorry.
Well, you know what? And again, let me put on my professor hat. The concept that you just described is actually called selective attention. Exactly. And that is where you select messages that align with what you already value and believe. So absolutely, that's what we do. That's what we
like do. Selective listening.
Okay, so
correct.
So the poll is just showing what bin they already have.
Exactly.
Because you're going to go listen to what resonates with you, right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And you just have choices now.
And so when you ask people all these choices and you get these really interesting answers, then you know with whom you are dealing. Because if I'm going to the pigsty to get my information every morning,
your nutrition may suffer. What?
Yeah, but what does it say about me? This is what I like to eat, and I'm going over there and get it. Okay,
right.
And we can't, and because we are creatures that have choice, it's not going to be where we are all going to say the same thing, and we're all going to come together because we have a few people who are going to go to the big pigsty for their info.
Garbage in, garbage out. Isn't that what?
That's where they feed. There are some people who are going to go to the all vegetable garden or whatever, and so the meshing of trying to get everybody to think the same, that's going to be difficult.
Oh, you know what? I don't think it's good to have everyone think the same, because then you end up with an echo chamber and no diversity of thought. Groupthink, right? Exactly. You don't need that.
Stepford Wives.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. You don't want that. But you do want for people to think critically and to be critical media consumers, or be critical in what they select to listen to. So by party, in terms of party, Republicans are really the main drivers behind this whole kind of shift. 58% of them now express that they don't have any confidence in media, while the trust hasn't changed necessarily with Democrats. 57% say that they have a fair amount of trust, and that's a 12-point jump from 2019. So that I found was interesting. It's not anything new necessarily, but I thought it was.
Yeah, has it shifted dramatically since 72?
Yeah, I think it's had its ups and downs, and what they haven't measured since. So they did it in 72 once, and then they started asking the question solidly since 1997. So there's been ups and downs since 1997.
That makes sense.
Peak being for this is interesting when we look at it in terms of Democrats. The peak was in 2018 for Democrats, and the peak was in 1998, basically, I think, 1998 for Republicans. So it will be interesting to see what political shifts were happening at the time that may have caused that, because regardless of the fact that we seem very polarized by party now, I think it's always been like this, just not as blatant. So.
And I think it lends to the media that we have at our disposal right now. Before, you could have polarizing positions, but you weren't getting it out past your front door.
Yeah, correct. You didn't have as many vehicles to express it.
Correct. You couldn't put it out on Twitter. You couldn't put it out on Facebook or wherever. It was like, it was the Archie Bunker thing where inside his house, he's like, rah, and everybody's like, whatever, dude. Now the neighbors are hearing and what have you, but it was contained.
It was in silos before.
Right. It is now not like that.
No, they've torn down the walls of the silos, and everybody is just there and exposed to things. So it's interesting. I have two more stories, if you don't mind.
No, yes, please do tell.
So this was very interesting because I have been working on designing a course for the university that I work for. We've been designing a course on visual imagery and that type of thing for the graphic design major. And I have been doing a lot of research, to kind of beef up my week that I'm responsible for, and found some very interesting things. So one of the articles that I found actually just happened for Christmas Day. This is according to the BBC, if you are familiar with Britain, you know that the Queen does a Christmas every year. Yes. And so this year was very interesting. Channel 4, which is one of the well-known networks in Britain, did what they call a parody of the Queen's message. But it was not an actor doing a parody. They actually used AI to create a deep fake of Queen Elizabeth. And she said a bunch of things referring to how many kids that what was the prime minister?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I know I can see him, but
crazy guy. Yes,
the hair.
Yes, the hair. So, how many kids the prime minister has? Also had her dancing on her desk, doing moves for TikTok, as they said.
That was on the newscast. Oh, okay, I didn't know that on the channel. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
I saw the article, but because I don't know their channels, Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So even though Channel 4 created this, but what happened was at the end you saw an actress who was being mapped. Her face was being mapped because that's how they create deep fakes, by mapping the face of an actor
Wow.
and then putting it. And it took about, I think, well, no, not this one, but with another one. But it took a while to be able to do that. You map the face, and then you have to do each movement so that it's realistic looking or whatever. Now, so they said this was, supposed to be lighthearted and a parody, but there were some commentators and some members of the public who found it disrespectful and
Yes, that's the part I saw. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They were
So go ahead.
They were offended by it, and people.
They were very offended.
And was that the majority of the population? Did they get that much feedback, or was it just the news people?
You know what? I think I don't know how much of the population it was that was offended, but if you know, they revere the royal family.
Yes.
That is the as far as I'm concerned, that's the thing that keeps them together.
That's they had a state, yeah.
Right. Even though she, in a way, is just a puppet. She really doesn't have any power.
Yeah, she's considered a national treasure. That's the word I'm looking for.
Exactly. That's it. So she's a national treasure. As such, you don't make fun and do such disrespectful things to a national treasure. And so that's where that was. But Channel 4 was saying that their intent was lighthearted, but their intent was to show the deep implications that AI and deep fakes can have. And so my question was this, and, asking the students this, okay, well and good, but what if somebody came into the broadcast or left the broadcast early and did not see the end and thought, well, the Queen actually said, have I gone mad? Is this what the Queen actually said? So, you have to be careful with with great power comes great responsibility. So even though your message...
If somebody takes a clip and misuses it.
So they do that all the time.
Right. It may not have even been then. We can think back to things with, here I am again with my communication professor hat on. Think back to War of the Worlds with Orson Welles as the actor doing that. He said several times during the broadcast that this was for entertainment purposes, that this was not real, but people still were fleeing from their houses with tinfoil hats on, thinking they were being attacked by aliens, even though he said it consistently throughout. And of course, they got in a fair amount of trouble for that. So you have to this harkens back to that. You have to be very careful when you do these types of things. It's been done by universities, but
I would think that there have to be some laws enacted where you have to ask permission, especially if someone is a celebrity.
Well, this is why we have the FCC. And you're not supposed. You can't cry wolf.
Your president doesn't want you to have an FCC.
Okay, but whatever.
I'm just saying.
That's why you can't run out and holler fire in the theater. Do you understand? We have something in place, and then common sense should work too. But
well.
But
see, some people's humor can be,
Well, they're thinking that's why you have some people to check that stuff before it goes out the building. You think this is a good idea, Ted? You think we should really do this?
And what
again, you have to understand or consider the nature of what that workplace is. So even though we always say somebody at the table should have said something, but somebody who had the nerve to say something may have been shut down, you never know what the workplace culture is like. And groupthink is heavy in corporate. So somebody, but see, then everybody will say, well, I told you not to do that when they get in trouble for it. Right?
Exactly. So, And that one person sitting at the table may not be as experienced as others. They may be new to the table. They may be straight out of college, like someone who sits at the table and decides they're sitting around trying to figure out, let's say, products for Kwanzaa, okay? And they decide to put a Christmas tree on the ornament. Okay, so that Christmas tree has nothing to do with Kwanzaa. It's in the same month, but it follows immediately. But but the person at the table, even though they are young and represent that group, has no knowledge of that. And so they all rubber stamp it and say, yay. Next thing you know, it's in.
But this is why, I mean, and I don't want to get off on a tangent, but this is why I get to see serious efforts towards diversity and inclusion work, because you always bring in one person who can always be shot down or whatever, and they don't necessarily feel comfortable. Maybe now that's starting to change because of the events that have transpired this past year, but something tells me it's not going to be that much different. So I'm
not, because I have been that Negro in the room. I understand it. I was right. Corporate America and a Fortune 500 company when affirmative action started. And it's not a comfortable feeling, and you're not empowered. Well, I don't want to use the word empowered. You don't have enough clout or understand how it runs to really be effective until they turn to you and say, well, what do you think every Negro in America wants?
And you don't have allies. And sometimes you don't have allies, right? You're the voice for all of Black America, and you don't have allies in that boardroom. So, to the point of this, you don't know who may have said, do you think we should do this? And then everybody, the person in charge said, yeah, of course we should do it. And then everybody said, yes, of course we should do it. So, that's something that is a separate issue that needs to be addressed. The concepts of groupthink and pressuring and peer pressure in boardrooms where you feel like you can't really say things. So, but that is
here nor there. Everything is not for us to fix. What else you got?
Is not. We can't. And so the final thing is, I just thought it was really interesting. I am a club quarantine aficionado, and last night for New Year's Eve, DJ D-Nice, as you all know, who has been getting a lot of recognition and clout for the things that he's been able to do by keeping people engaged and involved during the pandemic, also during the election, through DJing and through music and, sending out positive energy. He had a New Year's Eve party. It was attended by, at the peak, there were 30,000 people on Instagram. Huge. It was just absolutely amazing. But again, I bring this up to the point of what you're able to do with social media and connections with social media, to the point that beforehand, we had 2 Zoom calls going on as a pre-thing. So everybody got to, not everybody, but a good amount of us got to meet each other. And then we went on to the thing. So it's forming connections off of the social platform as well. And social media is so important during this quarantine, I think, or pandemic, because most people are not quarantined. I shouldn't say most, some people are not quarantining. So I think it's really important to note the role that social media has in all of this. When people are, obviously there's always a downside to things, but when people are saying, oh, well, make sure you don't spend too much time. Okay, yes, granted, you still need to live within the world, but when that world shifts and changes, what do you do? And we see examples here of something that was, strictly online being taken offline to people kind of meeting in person, social distancing, of course, doing things like Zoom calls so they get to know each other better. So I think it's actually facilitating stronger human connections than what some people may think social media does. So I just thought that was amazing. Kudos, D-Nice, to you. You threw an amazing party.
Well done.
It was, and we talked about it at the top of the show, where the technology and the social media coming together have made it where you could spend New Year's at your house and have fun.
Yes.
And you're not all wore out. You're not on the road.
Let me tell you, I was not, first of all, spending an exorbitant amount of money, because they always up the price by tenfold during New Year's. You don't have to worry about getting, and I did get dressed, but guess what? I kept my flip-flops on because I'm at home. And then, the party was still going on. And because, it doesn't reach it, 3:00 in the morning here is 12 noon on the West Coast, 12 midnight on the West Coast. So, I stayed up and stuff, people making comments, and they're like, yeah, let's go. I'm like, too bad. And I fell asleep afterwards. I don't have to worry about driving home. So does that, I thoroughly enjoyed doing this. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched the ball drop on, YouTube. It was great. So I agree.
And the word social media, the first word, social. We have become more social. We would not have met you if we were on offline. I can't get to Florida.
And I want more.
Yeah, I mean, right?
Yeah,
right.
We would not be able to do this with Jerry and Pat and Cecilia and Chauncey and everyone who's watching this live and on the replay. We would not be able to interact with anybody without these tools.
Exactly.
We would not be. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
I'm off my soapbox now. I give it to you.
Well, I just wanted to make a point that social media and the promise of social media, especially particularly live streaming, is what gave me the gumption to say, I was a full-time associate professor at the university I used to work at, and I knew I had done everything that I could do there, and that it was time, when you teach. And this, Terralina, you make it about the students.
Yes.
So every time I was, doing a fellowship with some television thing or doing stuff in LA or whatever, I always tried to relate it back to the students. So that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to pay it forward. But I paid it forward so much that I forgot about myself. And I stopped paying attention to what I wanted to do. So I'm like, hey, well, do you think we could, because my students need Then I said, wait the hell a minute. This is what I want to do too. And if I keep doing and spending all my energy doing that stuff for other people, I'm never going to do it. So that's when I was like, you know what? It's time for me to leave.
Oh, go to the front of your own line?
I went to the front of my own line because I had been standing in the back so long. I forgot that really there was nobody in front of me. I was just used to standing in the back.
Exactly. Exactly. It becomes a habit.
Waiting my turn.
Exactly. So, but the question is, when does it become your turn? So I made it my turn, and I was like, you know what? It's time for me to do that. And it's time for me to get back into doing, creating film, creating video, doing more of that type of stuff, because I did it while I was, full time. But I nearly killed myself because it is so much to produce documentaries and stuff. At the same time, you're trying to correct it. So I said, no. It's time.
Up in the classroom and everything else. Yeah. Do curriculum, mark papers.
Which I hate.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Hashtag make it your turn. Well done, Fred.
Yes. Make it your turn. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I love
so
that.
2021, the theme is?
The 2021 theme for our ministry was supernatural. What is it? Oh, the year of supernatural manifestations. It's my turn.
Okay. I like it.
I love that. So the spin on that is make it your turn. Absolutely.
Yes, make it. It's my time. Well, it's it's my time. But if you don't make it your time, a lot of people stand back and like, okay, I wonder where it's going to come from. No, you got to do something. You're going to have to do like Dr. Tachi did, just like, and take a bold move. Like, hold on, I need to do this for myself, and take that and take your turn.
Exactly.
And that's what we want you to do. We want to encourage you to take your turn
and stop passing it. Oh no, you go. Oh, you go. Oh, you go. Oh no, stop. Take your turn.
It's sometimes you can't be gracious with that stuff. A quick example of that is the university I used to work at. We always brought known, world-renowned speakers. Like, for example, we had the Dalai Lama, and one year we had Desmond Tutu. But they were trying to block access to take it with Desmond Tutu one at a time. I was like, damn that. As soon as they said they called for groups, I mean, I trampled people seriously so that I could get my picture taken with Desmond Tutu. I'm like, you're not gonna. So that's the attitude you have to have. That doesn't mean step on people in a bad way, but know that you need to move quickly to get to your. I'm like, you're not gonna tell me I'm not gonna take a picture with Desmond Tutu. Out of my way. So that's what I did.
Right. And a lot of people will, oh, I don't want to be a bother, but the opportunity comes to you the opportunity comes for you to step into your own spotlight. And you just like, you keep standing in the shadows. No, you can't be afraid of the light. Oh, my hair's not perfect. Put on a wig. Oh, my makeup's not perfect. It's okay. We're going au naturel today. Get in the spotlight.
Because the opportunity lasts the lifetime of the opportunity.
Take the stage. Well, I'll just wait till later. And then 10 years waiting till later, the technology has changed. Something has changed and you're no longer in position. You can't not make it your turn. You got to step forward.
Absolutely. Yep. Make a step. Okay, guys.
So what other? No, Dr. Tachi had another story.
I thought that wasn't that?
No, that was it. That was the last one.
I want to ask a question about Wonder Woman. What is up with this Max situation? I was like,
okay.
Let's talk about that really quickly. Okay. I don't have HBO Max, and I am not willing to go to anybody's COVID-infested theater. Therefore, it's an 86 for me in terms of that. Okay, but there were a couple of notable things about that. This has been, they netted 16.7 million.
Yeah.
When they opened on Christmas Day. So that first weekend was 16.7 million, which is a high for the pandemic.
Yes.
Great. Good for you. However, when it came to looking at it, and I actually did a little poll on my Instagram and on all of my social media, asking people, have you seen the movie? Did you see it in theaters or on HBO Max? And what did you think? So the majority of people I asked actually saw it on HBO Max, because most people that I talk to are still not comfortable going to the theater to watch something. So majority saw it on that I talked to saw it on HBO Max. Then where you don't have to wear a mask. Then I asked about the content, mixed reviews. More people lean towards it being it's complete trash than people like I loved it. But there was no in the middle of that. But many people felt that the script was not there. That one actress I actually talked to said that, the themes of female empowerment that were present in the first Wonder Woman were not as present in 1984. So that I found that interesting.
Yes, since 1984 would have been a year of serious empowerment for women. I mean, the whole women's movement was on and cracking. I don't know.
And okay, I'm a Marvel person, so
am I. I'm not DC, but
so that whole thing happens, but I still like good superhero type things, and so I was going to watch it, and I just couldn't. It wasn't clear to me how they were doing that, because here the theaters are closed. There's no way you drive by our Cinemax or what is that, Regal?
Yes.
There's nothing. They have no posters up, nothing.
They're done.
Old West with the tumbleweed going by. There's nothing. So that wasn't going to be an option. And then do I need to subscribe to HBO Max and pay you whatever that is? And then on top of that, pay for the movie too?
Yeah, I don't. Is that how it worked? Was it streaming with the
do you pay for HBO Max? You got to add that to your subscription, but whatever you got. And then you have to pay for the movie.
Pay per view.
Yeah, but after you pay for the HBO Max, I was like,
I understand. I said you have to be a member, and then you have to pay per view.
But then
cable all over again.
So I can.
Not worth it.
It's cable.
It is cable, because now I can't disconnect. Now I could probably sign up for HBO Max and then cancel it right afterwards.
But you've still spent, what is HBO Max, like $14.99?
Yes, it's crazy. That's
Right. So you still spent $14.99 for that, plus
And
the
we-
cost of the
plus the
movie,
ticket.
and you've not exactly. Plus, you've not eaten anything yet. Okay, so you that we're talking approaching kind of like, let's call it $30.
It's back to the old model. You know
but, but it's $30 and I don't get no popcorn.
Exactly. You've not
we
eaten
didn't get
pimp
any
yet.
popcorn
Nothing.
anyway. You didn't get any popcorn anyway,
Well,
friend.
the point is, at $30, I had something to eat while I'm watching this.
Yeah,
movie.
I understand.
That's
but
true.
I'm just saying the whole family, you couldn't have done that for $37. That's what they're banking on.
Yes, but my whole
Right.
Taking
But
the kids and everybody and paid per head. So now you perceive it as less expensive. But it's not.
and I see where that comes, but that's flawed thinking because of the fact that you're also thinking, unless you are already going to get HBO Max, which by the way, their subscriptions did go up because of that. But we're going to see what churn happens, at the end of the month. Because people aren't keeping that. Because what other content does HBO Max have that I absolutely need to have? Not much.
It's the same thing with CBS All Access. There's not a whole lot of
nonsense.
Oh, but let me ask you. Let me
finish.
I'll finish. Go ahead.
There was not enough. I don't want to pay $14.99 for something I'm not going to watch, or $9.99 for something I'm not going to watch. And then they need to fix that. If you're going to put the movie out, put it out in whatever, and it'll there. Even if they put it on HBO Max, you don't have to sign up for this whatever, but you can watch it here. And then they could put on there as a trailer, this is what else we have to offer, but let us watch the movie for $20 and then we're out if we don't want to stick around. But don't hold me hostage.
Okay.
But that's what they do when they know they don't have enough content. They try to find all sorts of tricks and reindeer games to keep you there, like saying half seasons of shows, CBS All Access, so that you have to come back and they keep you beholden there. But if you have good content and you're doing what you're supposed to do, you don't have to play games with us. I don't know why they don't get that. If you build that kind of customer trust, this is customer service. People will come to you. Look at Starbucks doesn't even really advertise and people still go there. Why? Because they know for consistency and they know they're going to get what they want each time. They don't really have to do much to draw people in. So if you do what you're supposed to do, we'll stay with you. It's when you start playing these stupid games that we start looking at you side eye. I've always looked at you side eye, but this is for other people. So.
Yeah, so anyway, I just thought about the movie and I was like, or maybe do I just wait until it comes on something else that I have that'll put it on for free, maybe Pluto TV or something.
If you're that into the DC universe where this was important for you to watch, then maybe. I guess it depends on what you like. I'm a Marvel person. And here's the thing. I am part of a sci-fi podcast where we do comics and all of that. And they all know, don't ask her to watch anything that is not on something she doesn't have because she's not paying for it. So when they asked about Wonder Woman 1984, I was like, do you have to ask? So it just really depends on what it is you want to do and whether or not you feel it's important enough to do it, because I can't judge somebody else paying for something if that's what they so desire to do. Have at it.
Yeah, I just didn't like the hostage situation. I don't want to be on HBO hostage by something. Anyway,
yeah.
It didn't make sense to me. I just wanted to watch. I don't want HBO Max. I didn't like HBO, period. Even when it was on cable, I was like, there's nothing for me to watch.
Nothing. There hasn't been anything on there since they were known as home box office. Let's be clear.
Yes. Hostage box office. Okay.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Well,
it was not. It just anyway. And they all of them, and they're just the picture child for it because the other ones try and do it too. Cinemax, Stars, everybody's trying to get you to watch something, but you have nothing for us.
You have that one show, the
Yes.
one program, and you milk that for all it's worth. And then there's really nothing else that's a replacement or an addendum to that. Sad.
Dead.
Wow.
And it's all gone. It's like, what else does AMC have beside The Walking Dead, which is dead? So you can only go so long with that storyline. Lost. When you start putting shopping centers in the middle of an island, then we got problems. So Lost. I don't like series that way. I just rather have get me to the end of the story.
Well, one thing is for sure, we are going to start to see a lot more reality-based programming because of the pandemic. It's already been happening, but we're still feeding off of the residuals of last year stuff that they shot last year in terms of scripted. So when it comes to new content, it's very difficult because they have all these rules for what has to happen on set. For it to have a COVID safe set, these bubbles that you have to have, and often that doesn't fit within the context of the story that they've already built for these shows. In fact, there was a show that Kevin and I had reviewed for TV channeling called Connected, and they got canceled. We reviewed one episode of it, and Connected was actually dealing with, it was basically like a Zoom call dealing with the pandemic, and they had these different storylines. But we both said, well, how long is this going to last? And bam, it's off. But done before it started.
I think that's what's happening with NCIS because it was like because I like NCIS, I'm just saying. So they did 1 or 2 shows, and I'm like, where is the other episode? You understand what I mean? They did 1, 2, skipped a week, did 3, and then I'm like, hold on a minute. Why don't I see? They didn't have like 13 of them in a can.
Yes.
They had, and I'm thinking it's because of the way they have to shoot it. There's gaps.
And then if somebody in the series gets sick, or someone essential to the broadcast gets sick and everybody has to quarantine, it's just
I don't even think it was that. I just think that they were just I know what they were doing, but it's not consistent.
Well, it will lend to now producers and needing to say, all right, we need to have some scenes in the can or some stuff in the can, some extra episodes, probably because of this. And it is going to be more expensive, know this. But if they want to make money in the long run, they're going to have to do this. They're going to need to lengthen the amount of episodes that they do. So if your season is 13 episodes, you're probably going to need to think about how we need to shoot, 16 to 20 for this to be viable, just in case something happens. You need to have stuff, like you said, in the can, so that we could, and then more reality-based television, more talk shows. If we need more talk shows.
So we don't have to do reality-based. Please put something in the can. Because I don't want to see the Bachelor, Bachelorette, the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But besides those type of reality competition programs, I'm talking also about news programming, magazine type programs.
Where fixing homes. But I'm still.
I don't know if it's working for me seeing those people on screen. It just gives me, what do you call it? Zoom phobia. I feel like I'm in a Zoom call all over again. It's just like, okay.
You've been in Zoom meetings all day, and now I'm watching.
Now I'm watching a talk show, and the people are on Zoom talking to the host, and I'm like, I can't now.
Yeah, no, well, absolutely, exactly. So I don't know. They're going to have to figure out how to do that. And this is the interesting thing. I was watching Ross Bren, and he had a guest on talking about, and Ross asked, well, in addition to us in the live stream world trying to mimic the production styles of linear television. They now are borrowing a cue from us in the live stream world in terms of making their broadcasts look more like live stream. Like, okay, like what you see here, these types of things with the people.
I have seen setups. I thought they were on StreamYard. I was like, that looks like their template.
Exactly.
Now, here's something I did see, ladies. You know, we talk about the travel industry and all that they're suffering. I saw something on, you know, because I watch foreign newscasts about a young lady in Japan who decided to take, because she has a travel business and she did bus tours. She decided to let people sign up virtually to go on the bus tour. She gets on the bus, streams the tour, and the people get to go virtually on the tour. I thought, okay, that is an ingenious use of media to keep your business going.
Absolutely.
You're going to have to get outside of yourself and get outside of your, well, they can't come and sign up and get on a bus and da-da-da.
So it's just her and the driver on this empty bus, and she's, you know, giving a regular tour, and yeah.
And it would be the same thing, and then it immersed me in that.
And the sensation of being on the bus, because she's literally on the bus. So
absolutely. And you have, I mean, it's the same feeling of many of these streamers that are on YouTube that are doing these tours, not just, you know, the New York City ones, but all over. Like, I've watched tours from all over. They really are upping the game with not just their phones, but the cameras that they're using. These the high level cameras using GoPro, because you can't stream with every camera on the fly. But there are some that have really great 4K specs that really make you feel like you're there. And if you're watching it on YouTube, you can beam that to your television, and you've got an experience.
And the art industry, the Broadways, and they're putting the plays online where people can experience it, and they're probably getting, and they're still asking for patrons and different things like that. But I can see the Nutcracker or the Phantom of the Opera or whatever it is that I want to see. I don't have to leave my house and can still have the experience. And I might put a few points toward it.
And I'm willing to support, because I want it to continue. Yep.
The symphony here was putting on the different ensembles and stuff, and you can come in through the virtual stage or something, and it was only on the virtual stage. You paid to get in or paid to watch it, and you're still getting your symphony fix, your philharmonic fix, whatever it is. You're still able to do that.
See, virtual reality is missing a Magic Leap and all these companies. You're not taking advantage of this like you could. This is a perfect place. If you talk about immersive technology, this is where you want to feel like you're someplace, because really what we're seeing is not, in a sense, it's two-dimensional. If we want that 3D and virtual reality, this is the time for you to be developing these things so we have these experiences. I love Alvin Ailey. I got a chance to see, every year I'm usually at City Center in New York to watch their show, but they'd had it online this year. So I was able to watch that. But how cool would it have been to have an immersive experience with that, with some pre-show stuff, a pre-show walkthrough of the Jane Weil Center where they rehearse and all the type of stuff. I mean, come on, virtual reality, let's go.
Oculus has the, by Facebook, by the way, they have the glasses, and all you, or the apparatus, you can now, yes, it's going to require you to step your game up to make it where it's immersive, but the AR technology is there. You can take
they could have an AR channel and have a lockdown on that channel.
I would love to take a walk around Paris or whatever by putting on
my glasses,
and I'm like, ooh, what's that over here? Instead of it just being used for game purposes, use it for educational purposes. I can go to the Louvre. I can go to to the beach in Hawaii, and just it's like the holodeck on your face.
Mhm.
Oh, so then those people in travel.
See, they have to tweak their travel. Come to Switzerland and see the Alps, and you put it on there, and you put it on a coat because you think you're so real that you think you're cold.
Wow.
And you put on the glasses, and you're going around the Swiss Alps without the danger of the
Avalanches and wonderfulness.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, it is at the top of the hour. I want to remind everybody the first Monday is coming up. So yes. So we want you to join us first Monday, and it's going to be at 4 p.m. I'm presuming Pacific time.
Yep, come and see us.
And we'd like to know what you're doing for 2021.
Yeah, and we're going to open it up for people to come in and have a seat and chit chat and talk. So we'll put the link in the. It'll be available. So we want you to check it out.
And we would love for you to come, Dr. Tachi, and tell us more about Mediascope. And
oh, okay, absolutely. So I'll put that in my calendar.
Yeah, how to connect with with Mediascope and all the wonderful things you got going on over there.
Okay, and that's this Monday, this coming Monday, right?
This coming Monday.
Yep.
So that's 7 o'clock. What is that? 6 o'clock your time? Are you Central?
No, she's
Eastern.
Okay, then you are. Then it's going to be 7 o'clock because we're here at 4, and you're 3 hours ahead of us. Yes. Yeah. Okay. And so for those of you who are listening and watching, we would love to have you come and tell us what it is you got coming up in your business for 2021 and share that out with us. So we'll meet you in the morning on Monday for Coffee, Tea, Thoughts, and Conversations at 8, and for first Monday at 4 Pacific time. Friend, is there something else we want to share?
No, we're all good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
We love you. And remember to go to the front of your own line in 2021. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Cheers.